Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Trump Media and Technology Group.
TMTG.
Yeah, TMTG. You know, the more I learn about this company, the more intrigued I become.
Absolutely.
And I know you're pretty fascinated by the future of free speech online.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how it's all playing out.
So let's dive right in.
Sounds good.
So TMTG, founded in 2021.
Yes.
And their goal from the outset was to challenge what they perceived as censorship and bias in the mainstream media. Now they're publicly traded.
You can find them on the NASDAQ
Wow.
under the ticker DJT.
Which, well, pretty much tells you who's involved.
Yeah, there's no hiding that.
Yeah. So they want to create a space where voices they believe are being silenced can be heard. Basically, they want to build this free speech haven.
Right.
But as we know, things are never quite that simple, are they? I mean, there's been merger drama, a famous shareholder, not to mention the technical challenges of building a platform that's truly uncensorable.
Yeah, it's a lot easier said than done. You know, building a platform from the ground up.
Yeah. What I find fascinating here is the timing of their founding.
Yeah, the timing is crucial.
It was October 2021.
Just months after January 6th.
Right.
When debates about online censorship and political polarization were, they were at their peak.
They were raging.
It was the perfect breeding ground for a company promising a platform where anyone could speak their mind without fear of being silenced.
Absolutely. And speak of a bumpy road, they decided to go public through a SPAC.
Right.
What was the thinking behind that move? I mean, why do that?
Well, they merged with Digital World Acquisition Corp.
DWA.
DWA, yeah. SPACs are, they're like taking a shortcut to the stock market.
So faster.
Faster, but riskier.
Riskier.
Okay.
Yeah.
It gets you on the market quicker. But it also draws a lot of attention from regulators.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, TMTG was already under a lot of scrutiny.
Absolutely. Makes sense. So it got them where they wanted to be quickly, but they ended up with a lot of eyes on them in the process.
Yeah. It's a bit of a trade-off.
And speaking of those eyes, let's meet the people behind the curtain. Who are the key players at TMTG?
Okay. So the CEO
Okay.
and the chairman of the board is Devin Nunes,
Okay.
a former congressman.
Right.
And the board is full of recognizable names, especially if you follow politics.
Oh, I'm sure.
You got Donald Trump Jr., Kash Patel, Linda McMahon.
Wow. So, this mix of political figures and business experience definitely raises some eyebrows. It's hard to ignore the close ties to the Trump family and their political brand.
For sure.
What kind of impact do you think this has on public perception of TMTG?
Well, it certainly shapes how people view the company. Having those ties can be both a blessing and a curse.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Especially in a media landscape that's already so politically charged.
Absolutely.
It gives them a built-in audience.
Sure.
But it also makes them an easy target for critics.
Yeah, I see.
So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate that tightrope as they grow.
Right. Speaking of navigating, let's talk about their flagship product, Truth Social.
Yes.
It's their version of a microblogging platform.
Kind of like Twitter, but catering to a specific audience.
Right.
So it officially launched in 2022
Okay.
after a beta period.
Yeah.
And you've got your standard features,
Okay.
text posts, images, videos, direct messaging, the ability to form groups.
Gotcha.
They claim to be a haven for free speech.
Right.
But even on a platform like that, you still have to draw some lines.
Right.
Content moderation.
That's the paradox, isn't it?
It is.
And I've seen reports of account bans happening on Truth Social despite their free speech emphasis. It seems to make a bit of a contradiction.
It is. Content moderation is a thorny issue for any platform.
Yeah.
Especially one that positions itself as a champion of free speech.
Absolutely.
And their approach to moderation and how transparent they are about it
Yeah.
will be a major factor in their success.
Definitely. And it's not just Truth Social. They've also branched out into streaming.
They have.
With Truth Plus.
Truth Plus Lake.
That's right.
What's the story there?
So they launched Truth Plus in August 2024.
Okay.
It's a subscription-based streaming service.
Okay.
Their content is a mix of news,
Okay.
religious programming, shows billed as family-friendly, and a significant amount of conservative opinion content. So it's a pretty clear attempt to build a complete media ecosystem that caters to a specific audience.
Yeah. It seems like they're taking a page from other conservative media ventures like the Daily Wire.
Very much so.
Do you think this strategy of diversifying into streaming makes sense for them? I mean, is this a good idea?
Absolutely. From a strategic standpoint, it's a smart move.
Okay.
It gives them wider reach and multiple streams of revenue.
Makes sense. The challenge will be attracting and retaining subscribers in a crowded streaming market,
Oh, of course.
especially with a focus on a specific political viewpoint,
Right. And speaking of revenue, let's talk about their financial situation.
right?
It's an unusual picture, to say the least. Their latest quarterly report showed they made only about $1 million in revenue for Q3 2024.
Right, and that's after making $4 million in all of 2023.
Wow. So they're not exactly raking it in,
Not yet, no.
but they do have a significant amount of cash on hand.
They do.
Over $672 million as of Q3 2024.
That's right.
What does that mean for their future?
Well, you see, those numbers tell a story. They've got the cash from the SPAC merger and other investments,
Right.
but they need to figure out how to monetize that passionate user base.
Right.
It's a classic startup problem, just on a much larger scale
Yeah.
and with a lot more political baggage.
Absolutely.
Gives them options,
Yeah.
but they need to act quickly and strategically to turn that cash into sustainable revenue.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to pause for now. We've covered the basics, the
Hmm.
origins, the leadership, the products, and this unique financial situation. Where do we go from here? Stay with us because we're going to continue our deep dive into Trump Media and Technology Group.
Absolutely. There's a lot more to uncover.
Yeah, it's only going to get more interesting from here.
They've got a loyal audience, yeah, and a lot of cash, but they need to turn that into a sustainable business.
Right.
I mean, it's a classic startup challenge, just, magnified because of the political spotlight.
So how do they crack that code? What are some of the strategies they could use to turn, their user base into a reliable source of revenue?
Well, simply throwing up some banner ads on Truth Social isn't gonna cut it.
No, of course not.
They need a more sophisticated approach.
Okay.
Building out their advertising technology, offering premium features or different subscription tiers,
Okay.
things like exclusive content, early access. These are all options they could explore.
So basically taking a page from the playbook of other social platforms that are moving towards a tiered subscription model.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It's a model that's worked for others, but the challenge for TMTG is to find the right balance.
Right.
They need to provide enough value to attract paying subscribers without alienating the users who were initially drawn to the platform because of its promise of free speech and accessibility.
It's a delicate balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's Truth plus there's streaming service.
Yes.
Can they really compete in such a crowded market? I mean, what are their chances of making a real impact in the streaming world?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, they have the financial resources to invest in content,
Right.
but they need to be strategic about it.
Okay.
Acquiring exclusive rights to documentaries and films, or even creating their own original programming could be a way to stand out.
So like what the Daily Wire has achieved
Exactly.
with shows like
With the Ben Shapiro show and their film projects, exactly.
Yeah, right.
PMTG needs to find its own version of that. Content that resonates with their core audience and has the potential to attract new viewers.
But can they be successful if it's all politics all the time? I mean, people want to be entertained, informed, and maybe even challenged, but there has to be some variety, right?
You're absolutely right, and that's where their focus on family-friendly programming comes in.
Yep.
It's a way to broaden their appeal, potentially attract a younger audience, and build a sense of community that goes beyond politics.
Like a Hallmark Channel type of thing.
Yeah, think about the success of a network like the Hallmark Channel. I mean, there's a huge market for feel-good content.
Yeah.
And if TMTG can tap into that, it could be a big win for them.
Content is key, but what about the technical side of things? They've also talked about building their own content delivery network, haven't they?
They have.
What's that all about?
Yeah, they want to create their own CDN, which would mean they wouldn't have to rely on the big tech companies
Okay.
like Amazon and Google to
Yeah.
deliver their content. It's a bold move.
Yeah.
And a very expensive one, but it would give them more control over how their content is distributed and potentially address concerns about censorship by these larger companies.
And what's a CDN again? I feel like I should know this, but
Yeah, so a CDN is basically the infrastructure that delivers content online.
okay.
Think of it like the highway system for videos and websites.
Okay.
Having their own CDN would give them more autonomy, but it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah, it sounds like a huge gamble.
It is.
Are there any alternatives to building their own CDN from scratch?
They could partner with platforms that already have that infrastructure in place.
Okay.
There have been rumors of collaboration with Rumble, another conservative-leaning video platform
Okay.
that could be a more cost-effective way to achieve some of the same goals by sharing resources and leveraging existing technology.
So it seems like they have options, but each path comes with its own set of risks and rewards.
Exactly.
And then there's the elephant in the room, Donald Trump himself. What impact does his involvement have on their strategy and their future prospects?
It's the factor that looms over everything TMTG does.
Sure.
He's both their biggest asset and their biggest liability.
Yeah.
His name recognition and loyal following are a huge draw for a certain segment of the population.
Right.
But he's also a polarizing figure who alienates just as many people as he attracts.
It's true. So,
And we can't forget the potential for legal troubles or political controversies that could impact the company.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
It's a constant wild card,
Right.
And it raises a fundamental question about the long-term viability of TMTG. Can they truly succeed if their fate is so closely tied to one individual, no matter how influential he may be?
It's almost as if they're operating within a self-imposed bubble, catering to a very specific audience and worldview.
Yeah.
But to really make it big in the media world, wouldn't they need to reach beyond that?
That's the key question.
Yeah. Can they expand their appeal without alienating their core supporters? It's a challenge that a lot of niche platforms face when they try to enter the mainstream.
Right.
You run the risk of losing what made you unique in the first place.
It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do they broaden their appeal without losing their identity? What's the secret sauce?
It's about finding that sweet spot,
Yeah.
that common ground that resonates with a wider audience without compromising their core values.
Okay.
Maybe it's focusing on themes that go beyond politics,
Okay.
like the importance of free speech itself, family values, or even just good storytelling.
So basically focusing on universal themes that can attract people from all walks of life, regardless of their political beliefs.
Precisely. Yeah.
Okay.
They need to find a way to connect with people who may not agree with their politics, but who can still appreciate the message or the entertainment value of what they're offering.
So it's about moving from preaching to the choir to building a bigger, more diverse choir.
Exactly.
But how do you stand out in a media landscape that's already overflowing with content? How do you cut through the noise and get people's attention?
Quality over quantity.
Okay.
It sounds cliche, but it's true.
Yeah.
If they can consistently deliver high-quality content, whether it's news, opinion, entertainment, or even just, engaging social media interactions, they'll build a reputation that goes beyond the initial hype.
So it's not just about being the anti-mainstream platform.
Yeah.
It's about being a genuinely good platform, period.
That's exactly it.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they offer something truly valuable,
Yes.
something people can't find anywhere else, they have a real shot at success.
Okay.
But if it's just about pushing a particular agenda,
Right.
they'll hit a ceiling.
They need to focus on quality content, broaden their appeal, and navigate this outsized presence of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It's a tall order.
It is, but they have the resources, the audience, and the ambition to pull it off.
Okay.
The question is, can they execute?
And that's a question for another day.
We'll see.
Join us for the final part of our deep dive into Trump Media and Technology Group as we explore the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Yeah.
We'll also discuss what TMTG's story might mean for the future of media. All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into TMTG. We've talked about their origins, their products, their financials, and the strategic challenges they face. But let's get down to brass tacks here. What are the biggest obstacles standing in their way? What could actually cause them to stumble?
I mean, the one word, competition.
Yeah.
The media landscape is like a digital coliseum where every company is fighting for survival.
Yeah.
And TMTG isn't just up against, giants like Twitter and Netflix.
Right.
They're also battling an entire ecosystem of conservative-leaning platforms like, the Daily Wire, Rumble,
Right.
all vying for the same audience, advertisers' attention.
So how do they carve out their own space in this digital gladiatorial arena?
They need to be different,
Okay.
not just in their messaging, but in what they offer.
Okay.
It could be unique content you can't find anywhere else,
Okay.
or a truly innovative approach to, user experience and community building.
Yeah.
Remember, people have lots of choices these days.
Oh, they do.
So convenience and a sense of belonging are key.
So it's less about being the anti-woke platform and more about being the pro something else platform.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Find a positive identity, not just a reaction to what they dislike.
Right.
They need to give people a reason to choose them,
Yeah.
not just a reason to reject the mainstream.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's say they nail the content,
Yeah.
the technology,
Yeah.
and their brand identity.
Okay.
What about the stuff outside their control? You mentioned regulatory scrutiny earlier.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
The investigations by the SEC and FINRA might be over, but they're still under a microscope,
Yeah.
especially with Donald Trump's involvement.
Yeah.
Every move TMTG makes will be watched closely,
Yeah.
which could, slow them down or create legal hurdles.
It's like they're playing chess with the whole world watching.
Right.
And some of those spectators might be tempted to knock over the board.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about, the ever-changing political landscape.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, TMTG is undeniably connected to a specific political ideology.
Right.
If that brand loses its appeal or faces setbacks,
Yeah.
it could have a domino effect on the company.
Sounds
Like
right.
the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, but a falling tide. Well, you get the picture.
Precisely.
And there's also the potential for, internal conflicts.
Yeah.
Their board has strong personalities from diverse backgrounds,
Right.
maintaining unity and a clear strategic vision
It's going to be critical.
will be absolutely critical.
Yeah.
It's like herding cats.
It is.
But the cats are all wearing suits and arguing about the future of free speech.
A very apt analogy.
And let's not forget about the technological hurdles.
Of course.
Building a robust and scalable platform
Yeah.
that can compete with the heavy hitters.
It's a monumental task.
It is.
Especially, remember, they're talking about building their own CDN, which is a massive project,
Yeah.
even for established tech companies.
So it's a minefield out there
Hmm.
full of potential pitfalls and hidden dangers.
Definitely.
But let's flip the script for a moment.
Okay.
What are TMTG's biggest opportunities? What could launch them into the stratosphere?
I'd say their most valuable asset is their passionate user base.
Okay.
These are people who feel ignored by mainstream media. They're hungry for alternatives, and they're willing to put their money where their mouths are.
Right.
That kind of loyalty is gold.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in fan club before you even start your band.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they've got that huge financial war chest we discussed. Right.
Over $600 million in cash.
Yeah.
This gives them the flexibility to experiment,
It does.
to acquire content,
For sure.
and invest in technology.
Absolutely.
They can move quickly and take risks that other startups can only dream of.
It's true.
So they're starting the race with a head start,
Yeah.
while most others are still tying their shoelaces.
That's a good way to put it.
And let's not underestimate the power of the Trump brand,
Yeah, for sure.
at least for a certain segment of the population.
Absolutely.
It's a double-edged sword for sure, but it also gives them instant recognition
He knows.
and a level of media attention
Right.
that most companies would kill for.
For sure.
Love him or hate him, he's a master at commanding the spotlight.
Absolutely.
So they have the audience, they have the money,
Yep.
and the name recognition.
For sure.
What's the missing piece of the puzzle? Execution.
Okay.
It all boils down to making smart decisions, delivering on their promises, and adapting to the constantly changing media landscape.
Okay.
They need to be nimble, strategic, and willing to learn from their mistakes.
Easier said than done, right?
Absolutely.
But if they can pull it off,
Yeah.
they have the potential to disrupt the media landscape
For sure.
in a major way.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to watch.
Whether they succeed or fail, their story will be fascinating to watch unfold.
Absolutely.
Well, there you have it.
That's TMTG.
Our deep dive into the world of TMTG, a company with a bold vision,
Yeah.
a unique set of challenges, and the potential to make a real impact.
It's a story that raises fundamental questions about the future of media, technology's role in shaping public discourse, and the power of niche communities in the digital age.
What do you think lies ahead for TMTG?
Yeah, what do you think?
Will they become the media empire they envision? Or will they fade into obscurity? Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
And until next time, keep diving.